Okay, boys and girls, welcome back. Redmissed in the house once again. How you doing? I hope everyone's doing great. I'm doing great, and we, my friends, are playing some more WWE Supercard. Now, I want to go ahead and talk a little bit about what was on the Twitter page last night, guys. Now, this has been up for a little while, and I've purposely held off doing the video just to see if Supercard actually go and update this. But if you haven't been looking, they have put on there that they have some surefire news going on today and something about an event preview. Now, I don't know what this could be, but I want to hear your comments down below. Do you think that this is going to be a flash event? If it turns out to be a flash event, then we can guarantee that there is going to be a new tier added to Season 3. If it turns out that it's not a flash event, that it is like maybe a random event for Season 4 cards, then we're going to guarantee that there's obviously going to be a Season 4. But I want to hear your comments down in the comment section down below. Do you think that we are going to get the RTG at the end of the week for the Samoa Joe, and then in the next week after that happen to get a couple of flash events revealing the next tiers of Season 3? Now, in my opinion, if you take calculations of cards, I think they need to do a hard reset when it comes to cards. So in my opinion, I think you need to have a Season 4 so that everything is reset. Now, a few people might turn around and say, well, I've worked really, really hard to get my cards, and I don't want to lose my event cards. But if you take a look at standard setups, now if you look at this is a WrestleMania card, and it's like, what is that, 10 tokens, and then once it's pro'd, you get 11 tokens. So you can see here that pretty much every single Chris Jericho will be exactly the same stats, because I would say that 9 out of 10 people will opt to put those extra tokens in the power stats rather than the ability proc stats. So if that's the case, then every single person is going to have a Chris Jericho that looks like this, which is pretty damn useless, considering that if you have to fight Chris Jericho versus Chris Jericho, it's going to be a draw. And obviously this is going off of Chris Jericho, but going off of the same basis of event cards. So if you happen to have the Matt Hardy, 90% of people have coupon or tokened Matt and Jeff Hardy in the exact same way. So when it comes to Matt versus Matt, or Jeff versus Jeff, Samoa Joe versus Samoa Joe, whatever it is, it's a draw unless one procs and the other one doesn't, or your support cards are better than your enemy's support cards. So I don't want to see the basis of the game go off of procs or supports, because that's just not entertaining, and it's going to get really, really boring. I love the fact that you can get cards really quickly now, obviously with the Team Battleground and stuff, but I do think that cards need to have a little bit of attention to detail added to them. So maybe they're gonna, maybe they'll introduce a 5th stat, for example. If they want to continue to put so many tokens, maybe they'd be beneficial going and adding like a 5th stat. So maybe they'll have like power, toughness, charisma, speed, and I don't know, stamina as a stat. So who knows what they could put as a 5th stat, but if they bring a 5th one in, then that could warrant them being so high with the tokens, because for example, everyone's not going to token everyone the same, because if you've only got 12 places to put 11 tokens, then you're pretty much going to put them in the same places. So if you've obviously got Jeff Hardy, then you're going to be putting the main stats and then going ahead and putting like his lower stats. If you've got Chris Jericho, again, you're going to be doing the main stats of like the speed and charisma, the toughness as his second, and then just because you've got leftover points, you're going to put them into power. Now, if there was a fifth stat on the card, now tell me in the comments down below as well, what do you think the 5 stats could be? Do you think maybe they could change them completely? So instead of it being power, toughness, speed, and charisma, like, do you think they could go with something completely different? You know, I don't know what they could do. I don't know what the 5 stats they could change to. But tell me in the comments down below, guys, because in my personal opinion, if you've got 5 areas, then someone like, for example, Chris Jericho, who would be like having charisma, speed, and toughness, could now potentially turn into charisma, speed, and I don't know, talking trash on the microphone. I don't know what they'll actually term the 5th stat as, but it just could open up a lot more versatility to cards that are obviously higher level. So I'm talking more along the lines of like WrestleMania 33 onwards, because that's when the tactics are going to come in. Like, if you remember back to sort of season 2, when tokening cards in the right way was a huge thing. Like, if you remember rightly, back in season 2, Nikki Bella was the best diva in the game, but if you tokened Paige correctly, you could beat Nikki Bella in 4 stats, and it was impossible for Nikki Bella to beat you, unless, of course, it turned out to be power and toughness and Nikki Bella procced. Or was it power and speed that Nikki Bella was? I can't remember what her stats were, but it pretty much worked out that unless Nikki Bella procced, she would not beat Paige because you tokened Paige correctly. Now, that is what I want to see in this game again. I don't want to see, like, when I've obviously been back for like 2 weeks and started playing, and you can see here, because of the help with the team battlegrounds and stuff, I've got up to WrestleMania 33, but when I'm leveling up these WrestleMania 33 cards, it just feels mindless to me. Like, for example, if you look at this Seth Rollins, at the moment I'm leveling him up, but I know I'm going to get 12 tokens, so I know for a fact that the rest of my tokens are going to go 3 charisma, 3 speed, 3 toughness, 2 power. I know that that's going to be the case. If you look at Undertaker, it's the other way round, so it's like 3 power, 3 toughness, 3 charisma, 2 speed. Now, if they enter in a new tier, that means that the next tier up is going to get 10 tokens for a base and 12 tokens for a pro. That means that all 3 or all 4 of these stats are going to have 3 tokens each in them. Now, where is the creativity of putting in tokens? Like, yeah, I could go ahead and put a couple of tokens into the ability points down the bottom, instead of speed, and then obviously his proc capability would be higher, but the likelihood of winning off of a proc is not guaranteed, so you're better off going for those guaranteed stats in speed. So it's really, really weird to me if they're going to add a new tier, because if they add a new tier, they're going to have to add more tokens. More tokens means less strategies and more just relying off of your support cards to work perfectly, which 9 times out of 10 somebody's going to bring, or most people are going to bring, manager cards. So you've kind of just got to hope that your manager card is the better manager card, because if you remember rightly, back at the end of season 2, every single person had the Classy Freddy Blassie ×2 in their team. So it wasn't a basis of, well, I've got a Classy Freddy Blassie, so I've won because I've got plus stats to everything, which is obviously now the Vince McMahon card in season 3. But they've kind of got rid of that basis on not bringing that fusion card higher than the, I believe it is SummerSlam tier. I could be wrong with that, so tell me in the comments down below. It might go a little bit higher, but I know for a fact it is not in WrestleMania tier. So you have to have a manager card that is a 2-stat manager card, whether it's like Miss Elizabeth, Paul Heyman, Jimmy Hart, whoever it is that you've got to hope that your manager card is the card that helps you win the game over your opponent's card, especially if you have all of the event pros, like the Matt Hardy, the Jeff Hardy, the Samoa Joe, whoever it is that you've got in your deck. You need to hope that your support cards are the games that it falls upon in order for you to get that win. So I think what they need to do is hard reset the game so that instead of doing like you starting off in super rare tier, maybe they start us off in epic tier, and you have all of the lower level cards in the game still, like, so you'll still have common to ultra rare inside the game, but they're only cards that you're going to pull off of the board. So they start us in, say, epic tier, because if you look at the amount of tiers that are in the game right now, I think there's something like 12 or 13 tiers inside the game. So that's pretty crazy. So, like, let's just do a quick calculation. Common, uncommon, rare, ultra rare, super rare, well, super rare, ultra rare. So that's 5. Epic, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Hardened, Elite. That's 10 going up to Elite. So then we've got the Ultimate and the WrestleMania 33. So we currently have 12 different tiers inside the game. So it would make sense that maybe they start the brand new season off in season 4 and they make it so that you start off in, say, epic tier. And then maybe in epic tier is where tokens start. So maybe they'd even start us in super rare still, like they did before, but don't start putting tokens on the card until they get into, say, epic tiers, or even the, like, say, the survivor tiers introduce the tokens on the same basis, because then it would mean that when it comes to, like, the WrestleMania tier, we're only going to have, like, say, 7 or 8 tokens that we can obviously use in order to trait them cards really, really well, rather than 11 or 12 tokens. So it would very, very highly rely on a skilled basis of your tactics. So if you token your cards correctly, you're going to get a bonus in your games. Whereas if you token them wrong, then you're probably going to be able to get beat quite easily by somebody that has tokened them correctly. But I don't know. Tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. I could talk about this all day long, guys. Tell me what you think this big news of Supercard could be. Tell me your thoughts on whether or not you think I'm having a good ideas with obviously all of the tokens. I don't know. Discuss it in the comment section down below, and I shall see you in the next one. Peace on the streets.